let's start the today's topic, shell or shell scripting or bash shell or whatever the shell you have heard about, right? So let's start with the first question. And I will not say it's the first question, but it's a zero question. So today that my plan is to cover like 5 or 6 questions. And the last part is a kind of a practical demonstration, the issues which we face in our day-to-day life. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So my first question is for you guys. Uh, what do you understand about shell scripting? If I gave you this word, or if you heard this word, scripting or shell scripting, what do you understand? And can someone explain to me in terms of simple words? Let me start with my definition, and I will try to do it as simple as possible. So let's say I go to the office every day and I execute these 3 commands, ls, pwd, or whatever you can think of, right? Kalyan is saying something. Shell is a human readable command from users and convert. Yeah, Kalyan. But I want to understand this is not as simple term as possible. So let's say I execute these 3 commands every day, okay, or 2 commands every day. Rather than executing these 2 commands manually every day, I will put together in a file and automate it executively, repeatedly. And that I can do with the help of like cron job or other mechanism. But the idea is like, rather than executing these commands manually, I will put together in a script, and that script will execute it for me on a regular basis. So that's the main idea behind the shell scripting or any scripting language. Okay, to automate the task. Okay, so what is a shell script? Sorry, what is shell scripting? So that part is done. Now we will start with one really basic question. Use any one of you who is familiar with shell scripting, you saw something like dollar this 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 and hash sign, exclamation sign, this hash and exclamation sign. Can anyone tell me what is the significance of this and why we use it? Yes, shebang. There is one more term which is used for this. Anyone know? One is shebang, or so just it's also called a hashbang. But what is the idea behind it? Why we have this hash and exclamation at the start of any script? So one of the common misconception is that most of the time we use it for like you see this one, bin bash. But you can define it for other scripting language. For example, I can do it for user bin Python. Okay. So now let's try to understand it, like what is the significance of this shebang header. Okay. So whenever your OS sees this line or this special terms like hash and exclamation, so this is a kind of a special construct. Special construct. So like somebody of you mentioned, its main purpose is to detect the interpreter, like whatever the interpreter we are using. Okay. But, I don't want to go into difference between the interpreted language versus the compiled language, but basically the main aim of this is to detect the interpreter. So let me try to do it. So basically, whenever you have a script where you have added this line, for example, hash exclamation bin bash, your operating system is going to read this line, okay, and then it will see what is the interpreter that is it is using. So it basically is look at for the interpreter, and then for the whatever the commands you have write in that particular script, those line will be executed based on this interpreter. So use the interpreter and basically execute the command based on this particular interpreter. Okay. Now, my next question for you guys is, let's say in my shell script, I don't specify this particular interpreter. bin bash or bin ksh or other kind of interpreter. What will happen if I try to execute my script? Okay. So in that case, if you do not specify this particular interpreter, your shell or operating system will look for the default interpreter. And you guys probably are aware of this environment variable. So it's basically going to look at this environment variable, see what is the default interpreter, which has been set by your operating system, and it is going to execute your script on the basis of this one. Okay. This reminds me for one more question. Okay. This is not related to shell scripting, but it just popped in my head. Let's say in this particular system, and I will show you, this is CentOS 7. Okay. I want to find it out what are the default shell which has been supported by my operating system. Is there any way I can check it out? So here I showed you, yeah, okay, the default shell is bin bash. But here in this case in CentOS 7, I need to see what are the other shell which has been supported by this particular operating system. How can I check that? You guys probably aware of KSH, JSH, SH also. So if I need to see what are the different shell which is supported by this particular operating system. Yes, I will not say depend upon the kernel version. It depends upon what is being compiled into that version. I mean, what exactly the modules which is available for that version, for that kernel. Basically, there is a file called etc shell. Yes. And there you can see. So basically, it's the older version of bash, which is called binsh. Should have, yeah. So it is having a soft link to bash. So basically, for this particular operating system, the shell which has been supported is a bash. Okay.